So you've been summoned by human resources and they've told you that unfortunately they have to let you go. What do you do next? Welcome to another video. I'm John, and on this channel I talk about applying for jobs, resumes, cover letters, interviews, and everything employment in between. Now, for a number of years I ran a very busy staffing and recruitment agency, and for the last 4 or 5 years I've been very much dedicated to working as a career coach and a resume writer. And during both of those time frames, and even today, I often hear from people who reach out to me and say, I've just lost my job. I have no idea what to do next. Losing a job it can be absolutely crushing and devastating. All of a sudden, your routine changes, you question yourself, you question your worth, you're worried about finances. And for a lot of people, they just have absolutely no idea what they should do next. It can be a very traumatic experience. Now, losing a job is often, some would argue, it's inevitable. We've all been there. We've all lost our jobs for one reason or another. It could be because of performance. It could be because of a decline in the economy. The company is not doing well. There's been a merger. There's 1,001 reasons why somebody loses a job. But at the end of the day, the impact is pretty much the same. So one thing that really stuck with me when I was working very closely with candidates and job seekers with my recruiting agency was just how little preparation people had taken to ready themselves for the eventuality of a layoff. Many people had the same job for 20, 30 years and became very comfortable, and they didn't plan or prepare. No fault of theirs that they lost their job, but I in hindsight, look back at their situations and think, okay, there are some things that possibly they could have done. So as much as I'm talking about now, how to respond to receiving notice of a job loss, I think it's equally a call to action for anybody who is working, of some steps to take to perhaps, should this happen, you'll be a little bit better prepared. So obviously the first thing is to make sure your resume is ready to go and current. A lot of people, when they do reach out to me, say, I haven't needed a resume in 20 years, and I've been asked to send one. Now, I've discussed in this video, on this channel, how to write a resume. I do have a program. You can find a link in the description, called Win the Job Hunt, a mini course, and there is a section in that of how to structure and how to write a resume. So if you haven't checked that out. But assuming that you do have a resume, or you have the framework of a resume, make sure it's up to date and current. And I don't just mean make sure you've checked the dates and you've added your most recent job. Is your resume competitive? Are you adding to it? Are you adding skills, training, certifications that would appeal to a potential employer? Are you accepting new responsibilities in your current job that you can add to beef up your current the section dealing with your current employment? Keep your resume as up to date as you can. So just in case tomorrow morning you need to send it to somebody, it's ready to go. So take a critical, hard look at it. Have family, friends take a look at it as well. If you know anybody in another company, a friend who's in HR in another company, have them take a look at it, just to make sure that it is ready, and that should you need it at a moment's notice, you can hit attach, send. One of the most difficult, I think, aspects of losing a job is finance. that is, in many cases, that's the number one thing people will be concerned about. Everybody has rent, a mortgage to pay for, utilities to pay for, groceries to buy, um, school fees to pay. Money is one of the first things that will cross everybody's mind. Now, it's easier for some people than for others, but this is when having that emergency fund is critical. I'm sure you've all heard of the concept, pay yourself first. Every month we pay our mortgage, our rent, our heat bills without fail. So we make sure everybody else is taken care of, but the people that we need to take care of the most are at home. It's critically important that I think you look at your finances and dedicate that 10%, that benchmark, or 10% of your income to paying yourself first. Put it in in Canada, there's a tax-free savings account. Put it in there. Put it into a savings account. Stash 10% somewhere so that you can build up that buffer, that financial buffer that can keep you going for perhaps 2 to 3 months. Now, if you're concerned, like, where am I going to get this 10%? Examine your finances. Examine where your money's going. Now, you'll be doing this should you receive notice you're losing a job. But just to put you through, or to share just a recent example, my personal example, I decided to say, okay, where does the money go? What am I spending money on? I was recently overseas and I saw just in where I was what people are paying for their cell phones, electricity, internet, and I realized we are being overcharged. Now, if you're in Canada, you know exactly what I mean with the lack of competition and the incredibly high utility bills that we pay here. So I contacted my credit card company, I contacted my cell phone provider, my internet provider, and I contacted my insurance company thinking, okay, I've been with you guys for like 25 years. Why are my premiums going up and up and up and I have no claims? So in doing all of that, I was able to change internet provider, change cell phone provider. They found a massive error on my insurance premiums that they hadn't credited me for the past several years. So altogether, I was able to kind of regain several $100s a month, which we tend to just pay for without questioning. Examine your finances, examine where the money's going, how much of it can you kind of, how sharp can how sharp can you make your pencil to direct that money instead into a savings account. Reach out to people, especially if you've just been laid off. Reach out to everybody you know, friends who are working, family members. Let them know that you have lost your job and that you're on the lookout. Your resume is good to go. Can they forward it to anybody in their company? Anybody in human resources they know? Do they know anybody else who's hiring? Change your LinkedIn profile. You can add the open to work banner. Update your LinkedIn profile. If you haven't a LinkedIn profile, definitely start one. I just recently released a video on the top job sites to use, and LinkedIn is one of them. Another one is Indeed. If you don't have an Indeed profile, set one up right away and upload your resume to it. One of the number one tools and resources recruiters use to finding candidates. So set up a LinkedIn profile, set up an Indeed profile. And these are things you want to be doing even if you are currently working. Get your LinkedIn up to date, get your Indeed up to date. Be careful though, too many changes on your LinkedIn profile might give your current employer suspicion that you're considering moving or looking for something else. If you have been laid off and you're actively looking, it's really important that you take care of yourself mentally and physically. It is so easy to get into a funk, to get depressed, to get down, to be worried. I'm not going to tell people that this isn't a time to not worry. It is a very difficult period. Reach out to friends, reach out to family, check in with people. Check in with anybody else you know who was laid off as well if there was a big downsizing at your company. Don't isolate yourself. It's critically important that you do not isolate yourself. People want to help, people want to be there for you. Reach out to them. If you have a gym membership, go to the gym. If you don't have a gym membership, go for a walk. Try to stay as healthy as you possibly can. Eat nutritious food. Avoid the junk food, the temptation of eating too much junk food. Now you're off work and you're maybe perhaps sitting around the house a little bit more. Stay healthy. This is not the time to get sick. You want to stay in tip-top shape. So if you have just received the bad news that you've lost your job, it's not a permanent situation. Things will turn around for you. Immediately get your resume up to date, get your LinkedIn up to date, reach out to everybody you know, and especially take a look at your finances. Where can you tighten up your finances? The same can be said if you haven't been laid off, if you're still working. Run yourself through this exercise every few months. Is your resume up to date? Are you marketing yourself properly on LinkedIn? Are you developing new skills? Are you taking advantage of all of the programs that your current company is offering in terms of professional development? How are your finances? Take a look at those as well. If you haven't already, start a program where you can dedicate at least 10% of everything you're earning to paying yourself first before you pay all of the others. If you got some value from this video, I would really appreciate the thumbs up. And if you haven't already, I would truly appreciate you subscribing to this channel and hitting the bell notification to receive updates of when I'm releasing a new video. I'd love to hear your experiences with how you navigated losing a job. What did you do? What tips do you have? Was there a particular strategy that helped you through that process, through that period, before you found a new job? So if you do have any ideas, any comments, suggestions, I'd appreciate you dropping a comment below. And until the next video, take care of yourselves. Best of luck with the job hunt, and I'll see you on the next one.